Representative Barbara Lee, welcome to The Daily Show.
Happy to be with you. It's an honor, Trevor, really.
No, I think the honor is mine because, I've known a little bit about you over the years, but you have a documentary that has just come out about your life, and there are honestly few people who have acted in movies that have a story as amazing as yours is in real life. You grew up in a world where you lived in a segregated community. Your mother almost died giving birth to you because she was a black woman and people wouldn't help her in the hospitals. You went through domestic abuse as a wife who had to escape a husband where the law wouldn't protect you. You have lived such a journey, and to see you here now as a congressperson who's been serving for over 2 decades, with constituents who love her, is quite the journey. When you watched this movie, were you also shocked at the life that you've lived? Because I know sometimes people forget.
Trevor, first of all, yes, I was, and it was very humbling for me. And I just have to take a moment and give credit to Abby Ginsburg, who actually tracked me down and forced me to do this film because I was an unwilling subject. And she took twice as long to do the film because of me, because this is my life. And, I believe that so much of what I have been through really has been reflective of what so many others have gone through in this country, especially young African-American women, and Black people in general. It's not for myself that I've done what I have done and tried to break down barriers and, move forward, but It's for others because, everyone deserves the quality of life that this country provides for everyone else. And Black lives do matter. Hopefully, young people especially will see the lessons in my life.
I think many young people have. It's apt that you mentioned Black Lives Matter because your name cannot be separated from the struggle in the United States. You're not just fighting for people's freedoms, but also fighting an unpopular fight. I mean, you were working with the Black Panthers for a long period where many people labeled them as terrorists. Only today, people are starting to realize that, man, whoa, the US government really did a number on people with this organization. But you were working in many unpopular positions, fighting for the liberation of poor people in particular. And when you got to Congress, there were many people who said, whatever you do not say the word poverty. Please, don't bring poverty into politics. And you did just the opposite. Tell me why.
Well, Trevor, I had to do that because, first of all, yes, I was a community worker with the Black Panther Party, and the Black Panther Party had a 10-point program. And that program was about feeding hungry children, right? About medical care that was inaccessible to low-income people, Black people, people of color. It was about providing shoes, which we did, clothing. It was really about providing for the basics in terms of just survival so that we could move forward to change the conditions that give rise to all of these very unbelievable injustices in the wealthiest, most powerful country in the world. So, yeah. When I came to Congress, I mean, it's like I come as Barbara Lee. My experiences matter. And so I had to fight, like you could not believe, to get Democrats to, yes, continue to talk about fighting for the middle class, but what about low wealth people? What about low income people? What about poor people? What about working people who work 2 jobs and still live below the poverty line? So that was an uphill battle, but everything is, Trevor, And so we finally broke through, and now I chair the task force on poverty and opportunity. And we have close to 100 members on that task force, and every issue, especially now with the Biden administration, intersects with race and income inequality. And so we're trying to really look at legislation and funding priorities in the context of what will lift people out of poverty so that they can go out and live their lives and take care of their families.
Some people may remember your name or even your face from maybe one of the scariest fights I think that you've ever taken upon yourself, and that is fighting against George Bush going into Iraq. In fact, you were the only dissenting voice at a time when almost every American said, let's go in and let's bomb people. You said, this is not the right thing. You got death threats. You were vilified across the board. I guess my question has 2 parts to it, is number one, when you were doing that, did you not think to yourself, this could be the worst mistake I'm making? Because although I know I'm right, I know that the cost that I will pay may be too great. And the second part of it is, looking at the crisis happening right now at the Ukrainian border, Are you now in another position where you're saying to your colleagues, hey, let's breathe and think about the ultimate cost of war before we act?
Trevor, let me just first say, I come from a military family. My dad retired a lieutenant colonel in the Army. He served in the segregated 92nd Infantry in Italy, supporting the Normandy invasion. I know what war is about. My dad was the first person who called me, and this was the vote right after the horrific, terrible events of 9/11, where the country was angry and mourning and had wanted us to do something. But when the authorization came, 3 days, mind you, after these terrible events, 60 words, it was a blank check, and all it said basically was any president can go to war anytime he or she wants to. Took away Congress's responsibility under Article 2, where Congress is supposed to be the final decision maker on going to war. We gave it to any president. That was 21 years ago now, right? That was outrageous. My dad was the first person who called me after that vote, and he said that was the right vote. He said, do not send our troops in harm's way. Do not do any action right now. 3 days, 9/14, that's when it was, September 14th. Give it a little bit of time. Be rational. Think through the implications of what you're about to do. So yeah, it was a rough time, death threats. I mean, it was a horrible time, but I had to be ready for that because, you know, we're elected, Trevor, to lead. And so fast forward to today. First of all, I really believe, and I've been to Ukraine in 2019, and I understand Russian aggression and what's taking place there very clearly. And I believe very clearly that Ukraine is a sovereign country and it has the right to determine its allies and its alliances. And I think that the Biden administration is doing the right thing by exercising a strong diplomatic initiative. But we can't mess that up. We've got to allow diplomacy to work. We cannot, and I'm concerned about sending troops and military hardware because even though the president has said we're not going to enter into combat operation, I believe him. I know he does not want to do that. He supports my repeal of the authorization of the use of force. So I know this president really wants a diplomatic solution. What I'm concerned about is a miscalculation. Errors can occur. Our troops could be there and something could happen, and then they would have to take the offense or defense.
Right, and then they're roped in, yeah.
We talk about sanctions. We talk about what would bring Putin to the table and get him to back off of his aggression. I'm not sure if sanctions are going to help or hurt him because he wants to do what he wants to do, and will it aggravate and include efforts in his mind to escalate even further. So we have to calibrate this very carefully. I really hope that we let diplomacy work and not do anything that's going to exacerbate or escalate what is taking place now. Because Putin, we know what he wants to do in Europe and in Eastern Europe, especially, and with Ukraine, and it's very dangerous. So we've got to do everything to continue on the path of diplomacy.
Well, Representative Barbara Lee, thank you so much for taking the time, and thank you for finally allowing them to tell an amazing story of the life that you've lived.
Well, thank you, Trevor. Thank Abby Ginsburg. She made me do it.
I will do. Thank you so much. Barbara Lee, Speaking Truth to Power premieres on Starz February 1st.